After what Jay Powell just said about stocks, they come crashing lower, or should I say, we get an itty bitty little pullback. Now, come over and look at how the indices fared across the board. The Dow was down 88 points, NASDAQ down 215 points, S&P 500 down 36 points, with the Russell 2000 being down 0.54. We look at advancing issues versus declining. We had 56% of issues declining on the day. But then as we come over and look at the sectors across the board, look at the leaders out there. We had energy and utilities. Now, we don't want to see energy on the rise. Why? That is not going to be good for CPI. And look at where technology is. Technology was the second worst performing sector out there. Now we come over and look at the fear and greed index. We are still over in greedy territory with the reading of 58. And that's kind of what Jay Powell essentially alluded to, because today, right here at 12:30, we had Jay Powell going out there and taking the podium. And basically, if we sum up what Jay Powell has to say, Fed Chair Powell says stock prices appear fairly highly valued. Now, to me, that doesn't sound like the stock market is in a buying opportunity place at this moment. Now, if you disagree, let me know in the comment section down below. If we come over and look at the dollar index today, dollar index was down. If we come over and look on the 5-minute chart, even after Jay Powell came out around 12:45, we saw the dollar index continue to go lower. Come over and look at the precious metal gold. Today, gold making another new all-time high, but something we're talking about on the live stream, I said, will this actually end up forming some type of shooting star type of candle? And that was when price was way up here and we just barely started to get a pullback in the market. And that's exactly what ended up transpiring out here in gold today. Come over, look at the SPY. We see we actually get kind of a 1-2 reversal candle. And now the question is, are we about to hit some of those lower targets that I've been warning about? If we look, we saw this large gaping gap right down here at a price point of 659.17. You might say, well, Mike, Jay Powell already came out. How much worse could it actually get? Well, if we look right here, chances of a government shutdown spike after Trump cancels meeting with Democrats. Here's what comes next. And at the end of the month, the government could potentially shut down. Could that be the volatility that we're out here seeking? Because yesterday I warned you guys, I said there's 2 warnings to pay attention to in the stock market. And one of them was the fact that the VIX was up yesterday. Well, today the VIX was up once again, but today we actually had all indices in the red. So we would expect to see the VIX on the rise. VIX was up 3.48%. Now, coming back over and taking a look at the SPY real quick, we see the MACD indicator has a little bit of a curl over on the daily chart, but then on the 4-hour chart, notice right down here, we finally got a bearish cross of the MACD indicator. We were looking like it was starting to get weak over here and even over here, but now we finally got that bearish cross. And if we look right down here to the left, we can see that large gaping gap we have left behind us. Now on the 30-minute chart, this is where it's going to get interesting, because now the MACD indicator is below the 0 line. And as I look at this profile, your eyes should naturally gravitate right towards this minus development area in the profile. And I want you guys to think about the minus development area as nothing more than an inefficiency in the market. And the market loves to come back and repair inefficiencies. Now, in the event that we come up towards this area tomorrow, the first time we come into it, quite often the market will either reject and come back down, or it'll end up consolidating. Now there are occasions where we do just simply slice right through it, but this is going to be a reactionary point on the chart I most certainly want to be paying close attention to tomorrow. We'll talk about this more on tomorrow's live stream. Now, if you don't want to miss the next time I go live, make sure you're subscribed and you have the bell notifications turned on for all. Take Profit Trader, where you can save 40% off all the evaluation accounts, 0 activation fee. Take advantage of this offer. Use code epitome at checkout. Now we come over and look at the futures markets real quick. Right over here, look at the 4-hour chart. You can see we have a nasty down candle in this morning on the live stream. I was a little bit hesitant. And the fact that we ran up, we've had this upper level consolidation. Quite often when we consolidate near the highs, the market's going to break and go higher. But then we've seen a turn of events thanks to Jay Powell, where the market comes right back down. We're sitting near the lows of the weekly range. Keep in mind, last week we closed above value area high, which we were able to come back and test, but we still have 2 consecutive untested point of controls. And we have another untested value area high, 66.05. The rule behind whenever we close outside of value, quite often the next 1 to 2 sessions, we will at minimum come back to retest it. And then we'll see, does the market find any support there? And we essentially end up bouncing out. Well, this week is session number 2. Since we're dealing with weekly volume profiles, 1 session is equivalent to 1 week. So this is going to be week number 2. Now we come over and start looking at the daily profiles real quick. We can see how the market just cascaded lower, and all morning long during the live stream, just chop, 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 chop. We basically had a 13 or 14 point range all morning long. And I kept saying in the live stream, this is nothing more than calls being built. Now the move, once we break outside of this range, is likely going to be extensive. And we can see we had that one directional move. And earlier this morning, I even hinted at maybe we could get down towards the lower end of the range. But I got to be honest with you, before I went to lunch, I did start to lose a little bit of hope that the market would actually make it all the way down here today. Keep an eye on, we do have an untested point of control down here at 66.61. So tonight and tomorrow, it's going to be important. I want you guys to look at this area of the profile right here. If we start breaking below the lower edge of that, watch out, because then I want to start targeting some of these lower swing points below us, and then potentially all the way down here towards 66.61. Now, if you're looking to play a multiple day type of target, keep in mind, if we start breaking lower and we take out that point of control, then it would make sense to have runners all the way down here towards 66.05 and maybe even towards this minus development area right here on the profile, anywhere from 65.85 all the way down here to about 65.74. Now, in the event that we can break above the upper part of this distribution right here, then we need to get through this minus development area, and then we'll see, does the market come all the way back down, all the way back up towards this structure breakout point. Now, me personally, I do think the market is going to come under a little bit of pressure. I do think we're going to have a few percent pullback at minimum. So if we look at how far a few percent pullback would actually be, we'll come right up here to all-time highs. And let me just drag down here. I want to see down to 66.05. 66.05 would only be a 2.25 point pullback from all-time highs. That is not outside the realm of possibility. So when you guys look at this target way down here, this is nothing. I think more likely we'll get a 3 to 6% pullback at minimum, and we'll see if it has the potential to turn into something much larger. Now we come over, look at the NASDAQ real quick. We see we have almost a 1-2 reversal on the NASDAQ. MACD indicator on the daily just barely starting to get a little bit of a rollover effect. We are nowhere near about ready to cross those lines. Now, one of the areas I do want to watch is going to be for the gap to be filled at 590.02. Also, we want to pull a Fibonacci retracement from the swing low, the beginning of September, all the way up here to all-time highs. A 38% retracement would be considered a minor retracement if this market is going to continue on up. Now, the 38% retracement will come in about 586.32, but more likely than not, we'll actually see the market pull back closer towards the 50% level at about 581.19, which also is just above a high volume node on the profile at 580.09. Now, on the 4-hour chart, you see the MACD indicator just getting ready, about to cross with a bearish cross to the downside. We can see that large gaping gap left behind from last week. Then on the 30-minute chart, look at what we have. We have a huge minus development area within this profile. And the way I would look at this is more of a B as in boy shaped profile. And notice the MACD indicator is down towards the zero line. So we got to be careful. Do we start to see the MACD indicator come down here, start to flatten out? We get a little bit of a bounce coming up towards the minus development area, and then we potentially turn right back down. Keep in mind, we could end up setting up some type of A to B equals C to D pattern on the way down. Now, in the event that we do start to bounce up, let's look at where some of these key Fibonacci levels come in. I'd want to watch the 38% retracement, the 50, and even the 61.8 fib level, which actually, I like the 61.8 as it's right near the bottom of this consolidation we had before we actually had that breakdown a little bit lower today. Now, when we come over and look at the NASDAQ futures real quick, we still have not tested value area high from last week, which we closed outside of, nor have we from the week before that. So if things start to get ugly out here, don't be the slightest bit surprised if we're able to flush all the way down, potentially hitting 24,182. But in the meantime, let's talk about some other critical levels. One of the key levels I talked about in the weekend video was the swing point right here as it falls right within this minus development area. Even if we pull all the way back to 24,182, that still does not destroy the uptrend that the market has been in. Now, as we look at this, we have value area high from the prior week, 24,737.25. For me, this is going to be a very high probability target. I want to focus on tonight or potentially tomorrow. We'll talk about that more during the live stream tomorrow. Below that, I want to focus on that swing point, then that untested point of control. Keep in mind, with the NASDAQ, we have 3 consecutive untested point of controls on a weekly time frame. Now, that is rare. Quite often, we get 2 or more untested point of controls stacked on top of each other. Then quite often, we're at minimum going to come down and test 1, and quite often, we'll take out 2. in that same week. Now, when we come over, look at the daily profiles real quick. Notice yesterday we closed all the way near the high. All night long we consolidated, bam, right back down towards the lower end of the range. Now, we got to be careful because if we start to bounce up, this is going to be a minus development area. First time we come up into it, expect the market to either do one of two things, either reject right back down or simply come up in here, consolidate, and then see if it wants to push up and out of that area. Now, in the event that we can stay below value area low and really below the lower part of this distribution right here at about 24,786, then I really want to be open to the idea of looking for some lower targets. One of them would be a quick swing point from the prior day's low, 24,748. Then the low right over here, 24,762. Then I'd want to hold runners all the way down to 24,410.50. Now, in the event that we actually come down and then we get back above value area low, well, then that changes things here just a bit. From that point on, I'd want to target near the upper end of this minus development area, then the point of control, 24,948.5. Anything above that, right up here towards the bottom of that consolidation we had all night long and early morning. And that's going to be somewhere in the ballpark of 24,973. And then all the way up here towards value area high. And then from that point on, we'd be holding our breath, watching the market make new all-time highs. Now, if you guys like to learn a simple order flow trading strategy, then you want to make sure you check out this next video right here.